We left off with this test script in our last video, showing you how to get the script organized a little bit. And so what I'm going to first do is actually add some comments to the code, because comments are really important when you're talking about organization. So I'm going to just call this one global variables definition. So those will go at the top of the script. Function definition. And then this is the code that runs when the script is run from the command line. Okay, so now we got some comments that kind of let you understand the organization a little bit. And as your scripts get longer and longer, comments are really important so you know what's going on and can remember, and other people can read them. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about variable scope. So I talked a little bit about global variable scope, where global var is able to be seen anywhere in the script because it's defined outside of any function, and so it's considered global. So let's go ahead, and I'll just kind of prove that again. If I go ahead and set global var down here to say 6, and we call f sub 1 again, so now it's going to call f sub 1 once, set global var, and call f again. Okay, you guys should already be able to predict what's going to happen. But let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to use the up arrow to just rerun it again in my command window. Okay, and so it does what I expected to do. It runs f of 1, global var is set to 4. It runs f of 1, so prints 1, prints 4. Then it sets global var equal to 6 and calls f again, so it prints x, which is 1, and prints global var, which we now have reset to 6. And so this global var is global, and it retains its value no matter where it is in the code. We can also have local variables in each function that can't be accessed outside the function. So for instance, in f, I can make one, I'll call it local var. I'll just set it equal to 33. Why not? So if I go down here and I try to print local var, remember, this is now outside the function, so I'm going to save it and try to run. Okay, so we get an error because it says local var is not defined. So outside the function, it doesn't know what local var is. One other thing we want to try is maybe set global var in our function. So I'm just going to reset it to 10. And I'll go down here instead. We know that print local var won't work, so we'll just print global var. Okay, I'm going to save this, and we'll go ahead and run again. Okay, now we get a very funny error. So the error we get is back on our print global var statement. Okay, and it says global var referenced before assignment. And you're like, what do you mean? I assigned it way at the beginning of the code. How can it be referenced at the beginning? Okay, and so what really happened here is Python saw that you're setting global var inside a function. And Python knows that only a very poor programmer would actually try to set a global variable inside a function. So they must not be actually trying to do this, because that would not be good. And so it's like, well, this must mean that global var is a local variable. It just happens to have the same name. And Python knows, and you should know, that's just not good programming, is to put this in here. Now, if we did want to do this, one way you could fix it is to give it this keyword global. And that specifically says, well, don't get confused. I know what I'm doing. I am actually referring to this global var. Okay, so we can save this, and now we can run it. And you can see it totally works. So what happens is it goes through what we expected before, and at the end of the function, global var actually gets set to 10, and then global var gets printed. Okay, and so it's now set to 10 after the function runs. And so that's as we expected, because global var is global, and it can be set by anything. But for our purposes, we don't want to be setting global variables in functions. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all references to global var here, because we don't need that. Okay, so generally global variables should only be for things like constants, like for instance pi or Avogadro's number or the speed of light in a vacuum, not for things that you need to be changing in your script. You can use local variables for things that should be changing in your script. And if you want to change a value in a function, you pass that variable into the function and then return the changed value. And we'll talk about that more as things go on.